Croeso pawb to the end of year deals and games under £15 PSN sales. This is a massive sale, and I mean huge. It's bigger than the Black Friday sale, and there's a lot more games I'm covering. This might be the most games I've ever covered, so strap yourselves in folks. If you love finding cool games to play and saving a lot of money along the way, then you're in the right place. Don't forget to subscribe. You're welcome here anytime. Now this sale ends on the 16th of December, so that'll be your last day to pick up these deals. Let's look at the games. First up, we have 1111 Memories Retold. It was released in 2018, so it's 7 years old, and it's on an 85% discount for the price of £2.99, which is a really great deal. This story-driven adventure tells the story of two soldiers, each on different sides of the World War I front lines. Brought to life through unique oil painting graphics, it features the voice acting of Elijah Wood and Sebastian Koch, with an orchestral soundtrack by Olivier de Rivière, which is a hilarious rhyming name. This is quite an impressive voice cast for such a small niche game, but hey, it's nice to see good quality from a little indie game. Now this game looks pretty interesting, especially if you're a fan of World War I history, or you just like emotional stories. People that play this game seem to really enjoy the story and the setting, plus I really like the art style. It's very unique and different, it's really beautiful, and it's unusual to see a game art style that hasn't been done a million times before, so this is pretty cool to see. So if you're a fan of story-driven adventure games, and you like a bit of World War I history or emotional storytelling, then you might want to check this out, especially if you're interested in niche art styles or games that are just a bit different. You'll probably enjoy this game. So if you're tempted by it, why not take a look? It's a really cool little game. And hey, if you've never played a story-driven adventure game before, then you could start here if you're really interested in it. It may not be the biggest game around, but it is really cheap, and it is quite different and unique. But that goes in its favour. It's a different game that I think will appeal to people that are bored of the same old, same old. So if you're tempted by this, why not check it out? But if not, don't worry, there's plenty more games for you to choose from in this genre in future sales. We have a horror game next, Amnesia: The Bunker. It was released in 2023, so it's 2 years old, and it's on an 85% discount for the price of £2.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really low price for a really cool game. And it now includes a new Halloween update that added New Game Plus for more replay value, which is really cool. It's nice to get free updates, and especially ones that add a lot to the game, which is really cool. In this survival horror game, a French World War I soldier is alone in a bunker with scarce resources. Being hunted by an ever-present threat, you must explore and experiment to face hell and discover what happened in the bunker to escape this nightmare alive. Now this is from quite a big franchise. The Amnesia games go back a while and they're very popular, which says a lot because survival and horror games have a huge amount of games in the genre. It's a chock-a-block genre, so you see a lot of competition and it's pretty fierce. Any franchise that's been around a while and is well thought of generally is really good, and this is no exception. The earlier Amnesia games were massive hits, and the recent reboot wasn't that great, but this game's got really good reviews. People seem to really like it, and it seems to be back on track for the franchise. So if you're a fan of survival horror games and you like a bit of World War I, then you'll probably really enjoy this game. Especially at this price, it's a really good quality game from a great franchise at a really low price. So if you're a fan of this genre, why not check it out? I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun with this one if you pick it up. And hey, if you've never played a survival horror game before, then you could definitely start here. It's a really good game from a really good franchise at a really low price. You can't ask for much more really. Pretty much the only reason I'd say not to pick it up if you're not a fan of the World War I theming. But outside of that, it's a great game and you could easily start here. But if you're not tempted, don't worry. There's a huge amount of games in this genre, so you'll have plenty of other options in future sales instead. Assassin's Creed Odyssey Gold Edition is our next game. It was released in 2018, so it's 7 years old, and it's on an 85% discount for the price of £11.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a pretty good deal, considering this edition includes Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered and Assassin's Creed Liberation Remastered as well, so you're getting 2 extra full games for free. Plus you even get the Odyssey Season Pass of 2 story expansions and a bonus mission as well. So you're getting the complete version of Odyssey with a load of content included, which is really great. It's a really big bundle for a great price. And just so you know, Assassin's Creed Unity is also on sale for an 85% discount at a price of £3.74. Now that's a really bad game in the series, so I wouldn't recommend it generally, but it's only £3.74. So if you've always wanted to play it, or it's a missing gap in your Assassin's Creed collection, then you might want to check that out. This third-person action game is set in ancient Greece, where you play as an outcast who becomes a living legend and changes the fate of Greece itself. It features naval exploration and combat, the choice between a male or female main character, a leveling up system, and exploitative microtransactions. Yes, you heard me. This was the first Assassin's Creed game that really pushed these. It was really bad, everybody hated it, and this was the start of the downfall of the series. but the underlying game is quite good, and they patched it later to kind of counteract the microtransactions a bit. Now, I wouldn't recommend it over some of the better Assassin's Creed games, but if you're a fan of Assassin's Creed and you haven't played this, and you're running out of other ones to play, then you might want to check this out. Hey, at least it comes with 2 other games that are better than this. So there's that, I guess. Either way, if you're a fan of this genre and you know what you're getting yourself in for with Assassin's Creed, you might want to check this out. It may not be the best game in the franchise, but it's not the worst either. So if you're tempted, why not take a look at it? And hey, if you've never played a third-person action game before, then I wouldn't recommend starting here. It's a big bundle with a lot of games, but it's a mixed bag really. Odyssey's not a great game in the series, and there's much better games you could pick from in this series, and other ones as well, and they'll even be much cheaper than this individually. So if you want to pick an Assassin's Creed game, there's plenty of better ones to choose from, or if you just want a different game completely from this genre, then don't worry, I've got you covered. Don't forget to subscribe, and you'll have plenty to choose from in future videos instead. We have a strategy game next, Avon Colony Deluxe Edition. It was released in 2017, so it's 8 years old, and is on a 90% discount for the low price at £2.49, which is a really great deal, as this edition includes the Cerulean Veil DLC as well, so you're getting the complete version of the game with everything included, which is really good. In this management sim, you get to build massive sprawling cities on Avon Prime, an alien planet full of deserts, tundras, and wetlands, managing your colony while exploring the planet, discovering its ancient secrets and alien wildlife. Now, I own this game on PC, and I've completed it, and I actually really enjoyed it. I'm a big fan of RTS and I've played a load of them over the years, and this was a really good one. It may not be the best one around, but it's quite fun, and especially if you're into the sci-fi theming, then there's a lot to enjoy about this game. Especially at this price, you can't ask for much more really. So if you're a fan of this genre like me, and you've never heard of this game, then definitely check it out. It's well worth it, especially at this price. And hey, if you've never played a management sim before, then you could definitely start here. It's a really good game, and it may not be from a massive franchise, but that's really good, because it hasn't been around long enough to be massive and complex, so for new players, it's a really good place to start. And even for fans of the genre, it's a lot of fun as well. So if you've always been tempted by this genre, why not check it out, especially if you're into sci-fi and aliens. But if not, don't worry, there's plenty more games for you to choose from in this sale, and future ones as well. We have a VR game next, Borderlands 2 VR. It was released in 2018, so it's 7 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for the price of £9.99, which is pretty good. Now, this game is for PSVR 1 only, so if you don't have the first one, you won't be able to play it. It has move controller support and aim controller support as well, which is the best VR controller ever made, and the way all VR FPS should be played. Why PC doesn't have an equivalent to this, I just don't know. It's an amazing controller, and I can't believe they never made one for PSVR 2. It could literally be a massive selling point in the VR ecosystem, especially if they released the Killzone trilogy in VR for it. Please do that, you losers. I'm sick of asking. In this VR FPS, you get to play the iconic looter shooter in VR, where you get to play as one of 4 classes of Vault Hunters, as you fight your way through the world of Pandora, looking for treasure and fighting to free Pandora from the evil Handsome Jack's clutches. Now, this is basically Borderlands 2, the game that was released ages ago, re-released for VR with full VR support, so you get to play it as if it's a real VR game, but it was just the original game converted, which is really good because you get a full-blown AAA game launched for VR, which is really cool. I wish there was more games of this production value released in VR, because it needs them really, let's be honest, it needs bigger AAA games. Now, the one problem with it is that it wasn't made for VR initially, so the downside of that really is that there's not a lot of big set pieces or locations that were designed specifically for VR, so you don't get some of the cool wow moments that you get in a lot of VR games. But if you're a fan of Borderlands, you're not going to care. You're just going to want to play the world in VR and have a really good time. And if that's you, you'll absolutely love this game. So if you've got a PSVR 1 and you like VR FPSs, then why not check this out? It's one of the best ones you can pick up, and it's a fully fledged game in VR. You can't ask for much more really. Check it out if you're tempted. And hey, if you've never played a VR FPS before, then I wouldn't recommend starting here. It's a big game from a big franchise, but it is quite pricey still, and you can get other games cheaper than this, and even big PSVR exclusives made by Sony for PSVR cheaper than this. So you're much better off starting with one of them instead. But hey, if you're a massive fan of Borderlands, check it out. It's the only one you can get in VR, and it's a really good one. But other than that, you'll have plenty more VR games to choose from in future videos instead. We have an unusual game next, Buried Stars. It was released in 2020, so it's 5 years old, and is on an 80% discount for the price of £7.39, which is the cheapest I've ever seen there, and a pretty good deal, especially for an anime game. They're usually pretty pricey. This visual novel thriller is set after a live audition building collapses, and the surviving contestants are now trapped amongst the rubble of the building. With social media being their only means of communicating, trust begins to crack as unexpected events unfold. This game really piques my interest. I find the scenario quite interesting and new, and the idea of managing a group of people buried in a building while a thriller goes alongside it is a pretty cool idea, and really the sort of thing you only see in anime. You get some really cool and unusual ideas mixed with unusual genres as well, which is what I like about anime games. You get really cool and different stuff that you just wouldn't see being made in the West, which is great. So if you're a fan of visual novels, I know they're not for everyone. There's a lot of reading and it's basically a book in game form. But hey, you get some really good stories, and they can really pull you in if the story's well written. It's pretty different, pretty unique, and if you're a fan of the genres, then it's probably right up your alley. So if you like the sound of it, why not check it out? It might just be the most interesting game you've seen in a while. And hey, if you've never played a visual novel thriller before, then you could start here. If you like the idea of the story and the theming of it, then definitely take a look at it. Visual novels are all pretty similar really, there's not a lot of gameplay difference generally, and the big differentiation between them is in the theming and the story, so pick the one that piques your interest. If you've always been tempted in this genre, and you like the idea of this one, then check it out. But if not, there will be some others to choose from in future videos. You might just have to wait a while though, because there's not a lot of games to go on sale in this genre very often. We have a Rocky game next, Creed Rise to Glory. It was released in 2018, so 7 years old, and is on an 85% discount for the low price of £2.99, which is a really good deal, especially for a VR game with a really big franchise attached. Now, this game includes the movie DLC characters, the classic Rocky Balboa, Apollo Creed, Clubber Lang, and Ivan Drago as well. They added them for free a while back, and it was a really cool update. Fans of the series will absolutely love it. I know it's called a Creed game, but let's be honest, it's really a Rocky game, and that's what people are here for, so it's good to see them added. Now, move controllers are required. PSVR 2 version is not included, but there is a paid upgrade, but it's quite expensive. It's more expensive than buying the PS4 version by quite a bit, and in all honesty, it might end up being cheaper to buy them separately than buy the PS4 one and pay the upgrade. So just be careful of the pricing, the upgrade's quite expensive. In this VR boxing game, you get to experience the best boxing on PSVR. Play as Creed, following the story of the first movie, as you train and fight under Rocky Balboa to establish your legacy forever. It features a career mode, training mode, exhibition fights, and online PvP as well, although the game's been out a long time now, so I'm not sure how busy that'll be these days. Now, I own this game, and I've played it quite a lot, and I absolutely love it. It's got the soundtrack included as well, which is epic. Playing a boxing game with the Creed soundtrack and the Rocky theme, oh, so good. The story's really good as well. It follows the movie, and it's got the characters from the movie with the voice acting and everything. It's a really good franchise for boxing, and they really hit it out the park with this one. So if you're a fan of Rocky or Creed and you really like boxing, then why not check this out? It's a really cool VR game, and it's the sort of thing that makes your dreams come true in VR. So why not check it out if you're tempted? It's one of my favourite VR games. I'm sure you'll have a great time if you pick it up. And hey, if you've never played a VR boxing game before, then you could definitely start here. Pretty much the only reason I'd say not to is if you don't like Rocky or Creed, in which case I'm not sure what to say to you. Those are some weird life choices you made there. But hey, don't worry, there'll be other games for you to choose from in future sales instead. We have a Digimon game next, Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory. It was released in 2018, so it's 7 years old, and it's on an 84% discount for the price of £7.19, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a pretty good deal, especially for an anime game with a huge franchise attached. They're usually pretty expensive in general, and especially with a big brand like this, you know they're paying a lot for that license, so it's good to see it at a decent price. In this RPG, you get to play as Keizuki Amazawa, who has been accused of a crime you didn't commit, and so you journey into the digital world, joining a group of hackers to prove your innocence. Now, Digimon's a massive franchise, may not be as big as Pokemon, but it's not that far off really. People seem to really like it, and especially the newer games seem to be getting a lot of good press lately. I mean, that could just be because the Pokemon games are getting worse, who knows. Either way, it's a good franchise, and it's got good pedigree. They have a lot of really good games, and this is one of them. They usually span a lot of different genres as well, but this is an RPG, so if you're a fan of RPGs and Digimon, then why not check this out? It's supposed to be a pretty good game, and fans of Digimon will probably really enjoy themselves. So if that's you, definitely take a look. You might just have a lot of fun if you pick it up. And hey, if you've never played an RPG before, then I wouldn't recommend starting here. It's quite pricey, and you can get massive AAA legendary games cheaper than this, so you're probably better off starting with one of them instead. But hey, if you're a big fan of Digimon, then why not check it out? That'll make a big difference to you, and you'll probably have a lot of fun. But if not, there'll be plenty more RPGs for you to choose from in future videos. We're going back in time for the next one. Fahrenheit. It was released in 2016, so it's 9 years old, although it's much older than that really, like PS2 era I think, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £1.64, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really good deal for a historical game that was quite popular at the time. This interactive story is made by the creators of Detroit and Heavy Rain, with this game being a paranormal thriller set in New York as mysterious murders where people become possessed and kill random strangers are taking place. So it's up to you to investigate and get to the bottom of what's really going on. Now, this is made by David Cage, and if you don't know who he is, then go do some research. He's a weird guy, but he's quite popular for his games. There's a lot of narrative, weird, story-driven games, and a lot of them are really pivotal, and came up with new sorts of genres and twists on games that were really good, and have been emulated by a lot of other franchises. So in general, if you're a fan of interactive stories, especially ones that are a bit weird or kooky and have a lot of twists and turns, then you'll probably enjoy this one. Like I said, it's a pretty old game, so if you're not into retro games or you weren't around in the PS2 days, that might put you off. But if you want to experience a bit of history, or you're a fan of old school games, or you're just a big fan of David Cage, then why not check this out? At this price, it's a really good deal. And hey, if you've never played an interactive story before, then you could start here. Caveat: if you're okay with retro games or just old games that might be a bit janky to modernize these days. It's historical though, and it's a pretty big deal. So if you're tempted, why not check it out? But just keep in mind, it's not typical of modern games these days. Fall of Porcupine is our next game. It was released in 2023, so it's 2 years old, and is on at least a 75% discount for the price of £3.99 or £3.19 with PS Plus, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a pretty good deal. Now, both the PS4 and PS5 versions are on sale for the same price, but there's no upgrade, so make sure you pick up the right one, because whichever one you get, you're stuck with. In this adventure, a doctor moves to a small town and must balance work and life as he treats patients in the local hospital while getting to know the staff and local residents. It features an emotional story, a friendship system, fun mini-games to play, and exploration as well. Now, this game's got pretty good reviews, and it seems really cool and interesting. I like the art style, and the idea of being a health worker, balancing the emotional toil of the job alongside your personal life, and having a lot of interesting characters to interact with outside of your work seems pretty cool and interesting. I just think it's a cool idea for a game, and people that played it seem to really think so as well. So if you're a fan of adventure games, and you like the idea of a heartfelt emotional story, then why not check this out? It's definitely different. I think a lot of people that pick it up will be surprised, and they'll have a great time. And hey, if you've never played an adventure game before, then you could start here if you're really into the idea of the game, but if not, there's a huge amount of games in this genre, and you can get big AAA legendary ones for about the same price or not too much more as well. So you have a huge amount to choose from, and a lot of them will be better than this. So it's up to you really. If you're tempted by this one, check it out, but if not, there will be other options in future videos instead. Mortal Kombat 1 Definitive Edition is our next game. It was released in 2023, so it's 2 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for the price of $13.74, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a pretty good deal for a really new game and a PS5 game as well. Now it's PS5 only, so you can't get this if you don't have a PS5, and this edition includes the Chaos Reign story expansion, 18 extra fighters, a huge amount of skins and content, including popular media fighters Ghostface, T-1000, Conan the Barbarian, Omni-Man, Peacekeeper, and Homelander as well. So you're getting a load of really cool characters from big franchises that'll be a lot of fun to play. I'm really glad they got Conan in the game. That's amazing to me. And if you're into that sort of stuff, it also includes the Jean-Claude Van Damme skin for Johnny Cage as well. In this fighter, you get to play the latest version of Mortal Kombat, reborn in a universe created by the fire god Liu Kang, ushering in a new era with a completely new fighting system, game modes, and fatalities as well. Now, this franchise has been around a long time and is massively legendary. It was one of the pivotal fighters back in the day, and it created a huge amount of controversy with its inclusion of blood and fatalities. But hey, kids love that stuff, and they still do now, and adults do as well. So it's fun for all the family, I guess. Ignoring the age categorization and all that inconvenient legality stuff. But anyway, if you're a fan of fighters, I don't need to introduce this franchise. Everyone's heard of it, unless you've never played a fighter before, in which case, this is a good series. What can I say? So if you're a fan of this series and you want to play the latest one with a load of extra content included, this is the best version of the game to pick up. So if you've been waiting for it to go on sale, why not take a look right now? It's a really good version of the game for a pretty good price. Why not take a look? And hey, if you've never played a fighter before, then I wouldn't recommend starting here. It's a really good game from a legendary franchise with a load of content included, but it is still pretty pricey right now. You can pick up the older versions a lot cheaper than this, and a load of other games from other franchises cheaper than this as well, so you're much better off starting with one of them instead. So don't forget to subscribe, and then you won't miss them when they're on sale in future videos. We have an indie game next, Orbital Bullet. It was released in 2023, so it's 2 years old, and it's on at least a 90% discount for the price of £1.59 or 79 pence with PS Plus, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal. In this roguelike action platformer, you get to fight your way through procedurally generated 360-degree 2D planets, where your weaponry travels right around in a circle. Yeah, you heard me. Think like a wedding ring. They just go round and round. That's the shape of the levels. It features 3 character classes, dynamic skill trees, an electronica soundtrack, and 42 guns and weapon upgrades as well. Now this game's pretty unusual. It kinda reminds me a bit of Resogun, which, if you remember that, it was a PS4 launch game and the first game on PS Plus on PS4. That was a really good game, although it annoyed a lot of people that was the PS Plus game back then. I mean, they didn't have a lot to choose from and they did cheap out, but it was still a really good game. And that had the same level layout as this. You go left or right just like a normal 2D game, but it wraps around on itself again, and that makes it quite interesting because when you shoot, it goes around and comes back around behind you. So it's got some really cool, interesting gameplay connotations, and it also makes it a lot of fun as well. Getting a really cool snipe by firing a bullet around the level is pretty interesting. So if you're a fan of cool little action arcade games and roguelikes, then why not check this out? It's got a unique mechanic, but I think that makes it pretty interesting, and fans of the genre might really enjoy this. So if you like the sound of this unique little game, why not take a look at it? It's definitely different, and you might have a lot of fun if you give it a chance. And hey, if you've never played a roguelike action platformer before, then you could start here. It's a bit different with its unique mechanics, but hey, it's really cheap and it seems to be well liked. So if you've always been tempted by this genre, why not take a look at this game? But if you're not interested in this one, there's a lot of options in this genre and you will have a ton to choose from in the future. So don't worry about it. Don't forget to subscribe and then you'll have a load to choose from in future videos. We have a legendary game next, Soma. It was released in 2015, so it's 10 years old, but the game originally came out before that, and it's on a 95% discount for the low price of £1.19, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, especially for a legendary game from a very popular genre. In this survival horror game, you're trapped in an underwater facility. With supplies running low, you must search the facility, uncovering its mysteries while looking for an escape, teaming up with other survivors, and experiencing multiple story choices and endings as well. So it's really good for replayability and keeps you invested in what's going on, which is really cool. Now, this game was legendary back in the day it came out, and it was a massive tentpole game in the genre. People loved it then, and they love it now. It's just an absolute shining gem of the genre. If you're a fan of survival horror games, or just horror games in general, and you've never heard or played of this game, then definitely check it out. At this price, again, one of the best games ever made, for such a low price, it's a really good deal. If you like any of this sort of thing, definitely check it out. It'll be the best game you've played in ages. And hey, if you've never played a survival horror game before, then you could definitely start here. It's a legendary game that's well thought of then and now at a massively low price. You can't ask for much more really. If you've always been tempted by this genre, definitely take a look at this game. If you give it a chance, it might just be your new favourite genre and game. Up next is Soul Hackers 2 Digital Deluxe Edition. It was released in 2022, so it's 3 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £10.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal, especially for a Japanese anime game. They're usually really expensive, so this is a pretty good deal. And this even includes both the PS4 and PS5 versions, and this edition includes the DLC story arc, The Lost Numbers, and a booster item pack as well. So you're getting the best version of the game with everything included, which is a really good deal. This JRPG is set in a technologically advanced neon future, where war is brewing between devil summoners who harness the otherworldly powers of demons, and as a world-ending disaster is predicted by an AI hive mind, it creates 2 agents to try and save the world before it's too late. Now, I don't know too much about this game. Generally it's well reviewed, and it seems to be a pretty cool JRPG in general. It's got a really cool futuristic sci-fi theming, and a lot of extra content included as well, which is really cool. JRPGs are pretty old school now. A lot of RPGs have moved to more modern action variants, but I really like JRPGs. I like the turn-based combat, and I'm a big fan of that. It might just be because I'm old now, and I like retro games as well. But either way, it's a really good way to play games, I think. So if you're a fan of this genre, and you like anime games, why not check this out? It may not be from a massive franchise, but it looks like a really cool game, with a lot of content included, at a fair price. So why not take a look if you like the sound of it? And hey, if you never played a JRPG before, then I wouldn't recommend starting here. You can get massive, legendary, golden age games for much cheaper than this in the same genre, so you're much better off starting with one of them instead. But hey, if you really like the look of this one, then why not pick it up? You're just better off starting with one of the other games, and in that case, don't forget to subscribe, and then you'll know when they're on sale in future videos instead. Oh look, another VR game, Startender's Intergalactic Bartending. It was released in 2022, so it's 3 years old, and it's on at least an 80% discount for the price of £2.39 or £1.19 with PS Plus, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really good deal for a VR game, especially as it includes the PSVR 1 and PSVR 2 versions. Now, move controllers are required on PSVR 1, so if you don't have them, you won't be able to play it without them. In this VR bartending game, you're abducted by accident and enrolled in a bartending academy where you have to be the perfect bartender, serving drinks long enough to find a way to escape. It features full voice acting, multiple locations, many bar activities, and leaderboards as well, which is really cool. Now, you know I'm a big fan of VR, and I've actually been keeping an eye on this game for a long time, because I do like some weird games in VR, and this is one of the ones that I'm actually looking forward to playing at some point. I would have picked it up this time, but it's more expensive if you don't have PS Plus, and I don't agree with that, so I don't buy them unless they're price matched without PS Plus, so we can wait till another day. But hey, if you're like me and you like VR games that are a bit unusual, or you just like games where you get to do mundane tasks, it sounds stupid, but in VR some stuff's just fun, and I really like the look of this game. So if you're tempted as much as I am, why not check it out? Especially if you've got PS Plus, it's a really cheap price for a really cool looking game with a lot of content included and a lot of fun. Definitely check it out. And hey, if you've never played a VR bartending game before, then you could definitely start here. It's a really good game with a lot of activities included, and you're getting both versions of the game, which is really cool. You're basically getting a free upgrade if you ever get the second PSVR headset. So if you're tempted, definitely take a look. It's a really fun game in VR, and I think you'll have a lot of fun if you pick it up. But if not, don't worry, there's plenty more games for you to choose from in this sale and future videos as well. I love this game series. Subnautica Below Zero, PS4 and PS5. It was released in 2021, so it's 4 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for the price of £7.49, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal, especially for a really cool game from a really cool franchise. Now, Subnautica 1 is also on sale for the same price, so if you've been tempted by that, I've been waiting for it to go on sale so I can recommend it because I love that game. It's just a shame that it came down to that price at the same time as this game because it's newer, so I gotta recommend it instead, right? Because it's a better deal. But hey, I love the first game. It's basically Minecraft but in underwater with an alien story. It's really cool. In this adventure survival game, searching for your lost sister, you crash land on a planet she worked on, where you soon find abandoned research stations filled with logs, items, and databanks amongst the debris, which may reveal the fate of your sister. Now, the first game, like I said, was pretty much Minecraft, but with undersea stuff, and it's amazing. Especially if you picked it up on PC, you could play it in VR, which is amazing as well. But this is the other game, the one I haven't played, but it's from the franchise I love. Now, it's not the sequel. Subnautica 2 was announced and is coming out in the future, but this was the game that came out afterwards. It wasn't as well reviewed as the first one, but if you're a fan of the series, it looks like more of the same, but just a bit different. It may not be as revolutionary as the first game, but hey, it's a really good game, and it's a lot of fun. So if you're a fan of Minecraft, adventure, survival sort of games, then why not check this out? There's not a lot of games that have ocean exploration involved, and this is a really good game from a franchise that's pretty well proven at this point. So if you're tempted, definitely check it out. I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun with it if you pick it up. And hey, if you've never played an adventure survival game before, then I'm not sure I'd recommend starting here. I love this series, and it's a really good game for a pretty fair price, but you can pick up other games cheaper, and you can pick up legendary games for about the same price as well. So you're probably better off starting with one of them. But if you're really interested in the underwater exploration aspect, or you want something that's actually got a story to it as well, then this is probably for you. If that's what you're looking for, check it out. But if not, don't miss the future videos, and you'll have other games to choose from instead. A puzzle game next, The Sojourn. It was released in 2019, so it's 6 years old, and it's on an 85% discount for the price of £2.69, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal for a cool looking puzzle game. In this puzzle adventure, you arrive in the Sojourn, a mysterious land of light and shadow, where you must overcome intricate and demanding obstacles to uncover the nature of reality, and it promises a thought-provoking adventure along the way. Now, if you're a fan of this channel, you know I love puzzle adventure games, and I've had my eye on this game for a long time. It's not quite cheap enough for me yet, I've got too many games to play at the moment, but it's a really good game at a really good price. So if you're like me and you're addicted to puzzle adventure games, then you definitely want to check this out. It's a really well respected game at a really low price. Definitely take a look. I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun if you're a fan of puzzle games. And hey, if you've never played a puzzle adventure before, then you could definitely start here. It's a really good high production game at a really low price. You can get other bigger legendary games for a little bit more, but this is still a good quality game at a good price. So if you like the look of it, definitely check it out. But if not, this is a huge genre, so you will have a lot of other options in future videos. So if you want to pick them up instead, don't forget to subscribe, and then you won't miss them when they're on sale next. Up next is my star by Tomb Raider Definitive Survivor Trilogy. It was released in 2021, so it's 4 years old, but the games are older than that really, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £8.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal, as this trilogy has all 3 games, with all the definitive content for all 3 games as well. So again, all 3 games with all of the content, which is really good. It's a really great deal. Now I will say that on sale the second one's usually about a £5, and the first game just over £1 usually, so it's still quite a good deal because you're getting the newest game for only a couple of pounds, so that's quite a good deal in general. These are all action-adventure games, and in the first game Lara searches for Yamate's lost kingdom, but after her ship is wrecked by a storm, she is stranded on an island, alone, and searching for other survivors, but she soon finds the island is inhabited by ritualistic worshippers, and has to solve the mystery while also trying to escape. In the second game, you get to follow Lara on her first tomb raiding expedition to the most treacherous and remote regions of Siberia. It even features a VR mode as well, for the Blood Ties DLC, a zombie nightmare combat mode, co-op play in endurance mode, and different graphics modes as well. So if you've got a PSVR 1, you can play the VR mode, which is not the whole game, it's basically exploring her mansion, but in VR, which isn't that great as far as VR content goes. But hey, if you're a fan of Tomb Raider, you might enjoy exploring her mansion in VR. It's a fun little addition for free. And finally, in the third game, you get to experience the defining moment of Lara's life as she masters deadly jungles, overcomes terrifying tombs, and struggles through her darkest hour to save the world from a Mayan apocalypse, and finally become the Tomb Raider. Now, I'm a big fan of Tomb Raider. I played all of the PS1 games back in the day. I didn't complete a lot of them, but they were a lot of fun, and generally, they live up to the hype. Now, there was a downturn as they went on, they got worse, and then there was a weird middle area where they were still making them, but they weren't that good anymore, and nobody understood why they didn't just ditch them completely. But thankfully, these remakes are really well reviewed. They've gone off the beaten path a bit from the original character, but they're actually pretty good games, and especially when you pick them up on a low price, you're getting really good quality games for a really low price, and this trilogy is no exception. You're getting 3 really good AAA games with good story, good graphics, and just generally really good games. Especially if you're a fan of the Uncharted series, you should take a look at these. Uncharted basically redefined Tomb Raider, and then Tomb Raider tried to rip it off, and this is as good as they could do. It's not quite Uncharted, but it's not far off, and they're really good games. So if you're tempted by them, or you've always liked the look of this series, and you've been waiting for a good deal, then why not check them out? It's a really good series of games from a legendary franchise at a really good price. Like I said, it's my star buy. It's well worth your time and money, I promise. And hey, if you've never played action-adventure games before, then I'm not sure I'd recommend starting here. It's really cheap, and they're 3 really good games, but that's still a lot of content that you're not going to play if you don't like them. But they are my star buy. You get a lot of content for your money, and it is a really good deal. So if you've always been tempted by this genre, definitely take a look at them. At this price, you get a lot of content for your money, but it's such legendarily good content that if you're tempted, you'll probably have a good time. But if not, don't worry, there are other options for you in this sale and future videos as well. And the final game I have for you is Valkyria Revolution. It was released in 2017, so it's 8 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the low price of £3.19, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really good deal. This turn-based strategy game is set in the wake of a revolution where Jutland's elite soldiers must band together to defeat the Rusi Empire and stop death itself, the Valkyria. It features a story full of political intrigue and a combat system that mixes real-time combat and tactical strategy. Now, this is a spin-off from the Valkyria Chronicles series, which is a pretty big series based around tactical turn-based combat, which is a really niche genre, but a really popular and unique series. Now, this game ditches the turn-based strategy in favour of more action-orientated real-time combat, and then it mixes it with a bit of base building as well. So you get to build your camp and then go off on missions, fighting a lot of action strategy fights, and then come back to your base to see your progress and progress some more. And it does have permadeath for your characters as well, which is really cool. A lot of strategy games have this, and I really like that. It's kind of annoying sometimes, but in general it makes you more invested in your characters, and it gets you more interested in the game, makes you care more about how well you do in the missions. So if you're a fan of strategy games, and you've played all of the big, popular, more well-known ones, then why not take a look at this? It's a unique mix of genres, and a spin-off from a popular franchise, so it's definitely cool and definitely interesting. If you're a fan of this sort of game, why not take a look at it? It's not for everyone, but if it's the sort of thing you like, I think you'll have a lot of fun if you pick it up. And hey, if you've never played a real-time strategy game before, then I'm not sure I'd recommend starting here. It's a good game from a popular franchise at a really low price, but it's also pretty unique within the genre. If you're a fan of Valkyria Chronicles especially, or you just really like the look of this game, then definitely pick this up. Like I said, it's a good game at a really good price. But if you're not particularly tempted, you will have other options in this genre, and a lot of the other ones will be more well known or be bigger games in general. But if that's the case, don't worry, subscribe, and then you won't miss them when they're on sale in future videos. And that's all the games I have for the end of year deals and games under £15 PSN sales. Wow, that was a big sale. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, because I'm sure it was a lot of effort. I don't know yet because I record the audio before I edit the video, obviously. But I'm assuming it's going to be a lot of work. Anyway, what did you think of the games I picked? Did I pick good ones or did I pick bad ones? And what about the Star Buy? Did it deserve it? Or should some other game have got it instead? Leave all your comments below and we can talk about it later. Anyway, I hope you found some really cool games to play. But more importantly, I hope you saved a lot of money. I'll see you guys in the next sale. Hoil Vour.